You guys have all heard about what's been going on with the cows in Kansas. And if not, comment below. What do you think is happening with the cows? I want you to comment before you watch this segment and then come back to me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be as even-handed as possible. And we actually had Ginger Snap here. Actually, he's from Kansas and called farmers directly. We spoke with them, so we have some exclusive information here, people who are cattle farmers. So late last week, there were reports that came out that 10,000 cows in Kansas had suddenly dropped dead.
It was nice of them to do it all in one place in nice rows.
Yeah. It's like a heat wave burning up my cows.
It's like crop circles with cows.
Right. Totally normal.
Okay. So here's the thing. You have the news outlets, and I understand this because they blame everything on climate change, right? They could just say this is an intense heat wave, end it at that.
Right.
But then when they say it's intense heat wave, climate change, it forces people to go, wait, hold on a second. I remember the carbon tax. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
I remember the carbon offsets. Hold on a second. Gas prices. Okay, you're pushing the climate change thing. I'm going to start being a little bit skeptical. So I understand the rebound effect. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the conspiracies are true either. There can be a heat wave and it not be indicative of some major cataclysmic climate change. So a lot of blue check marks on Twitter don't want to believe that the heat was to blame. So John Cardillo, he's a blue check mark, has a few 100,000 followers, says, I know cattle ranchers in Florida, Texas, Arizona, California, and a ton of other very hot places. Absolute BS that those cattle in Kansas died of heat stress. Combine that with all these food plants mysteriously combusting. The globalists are definitely up to something. Now, look, I understand why people are reacting skeptically. But you also need to do your due diligence. By the way, can we have them send, they were looking for the official number of cows that have died. I know, from what I understand, it's around 2,000. Here's Ivory Hecker.
It is 2,000.
Who was a journalist who I guess worked at Fox News for a period of time. 120,000 followers. Does not mean that this person is wrong about everything or that there's ill intent, but posted this video, which is not entirely accurate.
NBC News reports more than 2,000 cattle abruptly died in southwest Kansas in the past few days. As you can see in this video, lines of dead cattle in a field. The outlet that published this video said it was up to 10,000 cattle that died. Across the board, media outlets are blaming the heat for this death. But if you look at temperatures over the years, actually every summer, temperatures get to about that level that they got to when these cattle died. So it's very common for those temperatures to happen, and we haven't heard of mass cattle deaths in the past. So what really happened? What really happened? Well, we're going to explore that on my YouTube. One of the first journalists I ever met told me, follow the money. So we're going to ask some questions.
Oh, boy.
This is one of those things, it's sort of like the Jesse Ventura, when people don't have answers.
Yeah.
It's just like, listen, I want to know what happened at 9/11 at Tower 7. Well, what are you saying? Are you saying that George W. Bush was behind it with an Acme plunger? I'm just asking questions. I just want to know about the facts that matter, like fluoride in your tap.
Yeah.
What about it?
I'm asking questions with using my pineal gland.
I'm off the grid. Watch my show On the Grid.
Yes.
Such a moron.
Well, doesn't this, don't that cut out the middleman? Like, you don't have to line them up and punch them in the face with a metal rod and then process them? Can't you just be like, all right, well, I guess I'm taking the day off.
No,
processors. I know, I'm kidding.
Native Americans, that's what they, the peaceful, loving Native Americans, they just, if they needed to eat one buffalo, they were like, oh, there's a cliff. Let's chase all of them off of it.
And we'll take one.
That's it.
The birds must love us.
They almost hunted them to extinction. Peace-loving horseback culture.
Did they all die in perfect squares?
Yes. So here's the thing. Follow the money. I'm not seeing a lot of answers on following the money, but I will give you some definitive answers as far as if you were talking about disrupting the food chain. Look, you're talking about almost 4 million cows who die naturally here. We'll get to these causes, and we'll get to how many are butchered throughout the year. 2,000 is not the kind of number that would cause a supply chain issues, which we are running into. Here's the thing. My point is this. There are issues that you need to worry about, and there are supply chain issues. Creating a conspiracy, and maybe there's some foul play we don't know about, but the data doesn't suggest that at this point, and it certainly doesn't suggest that it's anywhere near as significant as the policy changes that we've been seeing that have been creating inflation and supply chain issues. So vets have been pushing back against these conspiracies, and by the way, not left-leaning vets. Just to be clear, here's Dr. Nels Lindberg, animal consultant vet, explaining the phenomenon that it's not just a heat wave, and it's not climate change either.
Sometimes conditions get so extreme, it doesn't matter how hard producers prepare the environment, the operation, the animals.
Dr. Nels Lindberg is a veterinarian who consults with feedlots around Kansas. He wants people to understand a video showing dead cattle in southwest Kansas in the Ulysses area was caused by a heat stress event.
The perfect storm is we had a rain event, actually several days of rain, created some high humidity in a typically very arid environment.
Followed by a sharp spike in temperatures to 100 degrees plus. With that extreme humidity and no wind, it created conditions that overwhelmed. Dr. Nels also says overnight temperatures didn't help.
Nighttime lows that didn't get very low, and that's when cattle and animals are able to dissipate that thermal heat load from the previous day. And when they can't dissipate that thermal heat load, then it just continues to build.
Now, I want to get some exclusive info that we have here. Actually, Ginger Snap called some of the farmers that he knew in Kansas. Here's my point. We can't all acknowledge that the Fed, for example, we can't all acknowledge that centralized government screws up all the time by not being able to plan things correctly. Centralized planning never works. And then believe a conspiracy where they get it perfect with these kinds of events that would require massive cover-ups, that it be pulled off to perfection. That's the only point that I'm making. I think you need to look critically on both sides of this issue. So Kansas farmers exclusively spoke with us, backing up what Dr. Lindberg said. Here's a conservative farmer from Kansas who wished to stay anonymous. Is it Haviland, Kansas? Anyway. Haviland. Told us that the issue was clearly the cause. He said, and this is a quote, "It was legit. Temps over 105 most of the day, and it didn't cool down at all at night. Maybe got to 90 degrees. You've seen the big feed yards out there, thousands of head in a dirt corral with limited water access, no trees, just heat. It was just the perfect storm, honestly." And when addressing conspiracies, this farmer said, there's way too many of us good old boys out here, meaning conservative farmers in Kansas. Way too many of us good old boys out here that if something fishy happened, we would be alerting the media. Now, let's keep this in context, too. Each year, there are more than 33 million cattle slaughtered in the United States, and almost 3.9 million cattle, they're lost per year to predator, non-predator causes, right? Over 419,000 to weather alone, just to be clear. So this is something that we need to, if we're talking about 2,000, let's believe the conspiracy, 10,000. If people were conspiring to disrupt the supply chain, this isn't something that they would do. Hey, you know what they would do? They would lobby the government to print more money.
Yeah.
Give another $40 billion to Ukraine. Give another $350 million to illegal immigrants. Those are the issues that are significant. I'm sorry, I'm just not buying it when it comes to 2,000 cows. I'll use the generous number that is unsubstantiated of 10,000 when you have 420,000 to weather alone every year, 4 million to natural causes that can't be slaughtered. It is a drop in the bucket. And I just don't want people taking their eye off the prize, going out and having conversations. I don't want you going out and having conversations with other people where you sound completely unhinged, where you go, it's actually about microchips in the cows and these. That's not why the prices are going up. If you actually educate them on why we are dealing with hyperinflation, guess what? It's impossible to argue. They go, yeah, yep, I'm living it. It makes sense. But if you go, and the cows, and the thing, it's like, okay, and then you lose them.
Right. It's all Bill Gates and his synthetic beef.
And Bill Gates is a piece of shit. Don't get me wrong.
Synthetic beef.
Yeah. I do think that Bill Gates wants us all eating.
No, I definitely do. But this
crickets
is not
and
evidence.
plants.
Yeah, this is not evidence of that. And by the way, the first guy saying, "I know cattle farmers in Texas, blah blah blah, all these other places." Well, listen, these cows don't deal with this kind of a swing. We are having a heat spike right now. By the way, they use the global warming for that. You remember last year when we had kind of a cooler summer in Texas? They were like, it's global warming causing unseasonably cool weather. This is good. I like it.
It was global warming, then it was climate change, and then it's climate variation. Son of it! Can you just kill yourself? Can you do that now?
What does climate change identify as now?
Well, it depends.
What are the pronouns?
Climate Xavier change.
It doesn't make any sense anymore.
So, anyways, this is just most likely not what's actually affecting the supply chain.
Guys, I got to be honest. I killed them cows.
Oh, why?
Well,
it made me feel good.
We also are not addressing the fact that about 8,000 cows per year are lost to tipping.
I tipped them all.
Yeah, I tipped them all.
They were all in squares, and I was like,
he hates cows. He tips them. I love them. I give him good stock tips.
I was like, I want to eat y'all.
I go, look, you want to put it all in fair life.
I was like, move.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.